now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now. I'm gonna make you bleed out. Listen on repeat now and weed out all the weak now.
Comments, cool. Let's do the Facebook share thing. Okay. 8:10. Unless I can get the beautiful Miss Wintis to go ahead and start sharing for me, that'd be absolutely wonderful. Good morning. If you guys could help me out with the sharing, Wintis, you're a far better sharer than I am. That'd be really nice. Let's go ahead and let people trickle in. Holy shit. This is why I don't like Facebook. All right. Happy Friday. Oh. God damn, that felt good. How's everyone doing? Hopefully we've been having a decent week this week. You know, aside from absolutely everything, but you know, decent week, right? We can still say that. Been way too long since I had a beer. Wow. I think we're gonna have to do a little bit of circling back just a little bit this week. We got a few things. First, we got to start off with the weirdness. We've had problems with this before. Bringing up non-public issues, or at least non-governmental issues at city council. Actually, let's go back a little bit before that. Can we all just agree that there should be a dress code for city council? I'm not talking like suit and tie. I'm not talking a polo or some slacks. I'm talking real shoes, some sort of pant or skirt or dress. Nothing that looks like you're about to go hit the beach and go play volleyball, okay? But shoes and a nice fitting shirt, even if it's just a t-shirt like this. Can we all just agree to these simple rules right now? No, Kevin. This is not it. Especially for you. Holy fuck no. I saw so many people from the council meeting day prior. And mind you, I'm going back and rewatching it piecemeal. I was dead asleep when it went through. But I saw people meandering on up there. One in particular, wearing sandals, slide-ons, beach volleyball shorts that had no fill out whatsoever, and a spaghetti strap top. Can we all just agree that if you want to be taken seriously, you have to look like you want to be taken seriously? I mean, just saying, don't look like a pile of hot garbage walking up to that mic. Okay, that aside, now that that's taken care of. Yes, they acted, they might as well dress it. Anyway, now that that's taken care of. Discussing issues or problems or topics that have nothing to do with the governance of the city of Flint. Doug, my favorite horse's ass. I can say that whatever problems you may have with 810, and you watch all the time, so thank you very kindly. Whatever problems you may have with us, let's just agree that it doesn't belong up on council. You can talk to your little friends. You can go into your little echo chamber over there and you can, complain about us there. But what does 810 have to do with the city council of Flint? Do you think they can tell us what to do? No? Well, then why are you doing it? And I know you're going to say, well, the FCC, that would be great if you were right. Podcasts don't fall under Federal Communications Committee. We fall under the Federal Trade Commission. So FTC. And under FTC regulations, we can say whatever the fuck we want. And if you're going to complain about the people in our comments, well, A, we don't control that. I can't tell, or I can't make Reverend Berryhill, older brother, this guy, say or not say anything. I can delete the comments afterwards, but to be honest, why should I? Why should Mickey? Why should Wentus? No one calls for any sort of violent action. They say, as I've read many times, that your behavior in their parts of the country would result in X, Y, and Z. They didn't say they would do it. They didn't say they hope it happens to you. So why are you bringing it up to city council? Don't you think Flint has more important issues than your reputation? Somehow you say you're a activist for good government. Number one, you're a slimy little sleazeball, in my opinion. You decide to sue the ENA board to get Miss Shasta Little fired. She ends up getting fired, but that destroys your lawsuit because it's the only thing that you actually had standing on. You want a special investigator to investigate your claims. You mean you want to jump ahead of everyone else? Hell, I have a claim through the ENA board. I went through Tanya Burns, who was my council person at the time, and it happened to regard the things behind me. In the city of Flint and the state of Michigan, you must register handguns. I went to the city of Flint Police Department. I registered my handguns, and they never got put into the system. That was a legitimate complaint. That is a complaint for the police department. That complaint goes to the ombudsperson, which at the time was Shasta Little, and it goes to Chief Green, so we can tighten up his fucking department. You're saying that your complaints on a personal level with a council person, with Tanya Burns, which, by the way, if you're such a progressive, why are you talking about her skin color at all, buddy? You're confusing me here. You have a personal problem with her, calling her orange, calling her snakebite, personal attacks on a very deep level. And I've heard several people say he's jealous of Tanya Burns. That may be very fucking true. I happen to believe that Dougie Doug is the type of person who doesn't like when someone works hard to get where they're at. He's used to just having things handed to him. He doesn't like seeing someone work hard to get to an actual position like Tanya Burns did. He feels that everyone should just have things handed to them. So when someone does work hard, he takes it personally. That's why he constantly goes after Tanya. Imagine if he knew that Fifth Ward Councilwoman Jerry Winfrey Carter was in school. She has a master's degree going for a PhD. Oh, that would blow his little fucking mind, wouldn't it? But your personal complaints happen to be more important. And mind you, you say you're a good government activist. So it may be more important to you, but in terms of good government, it is more important than the city possibly setting me up to be a felon. It is more important than cops not showing up to people's calls. It is more important than this right here. Let me just go ahead and share this. It comes from ABC 12 News. First, in depth and everywhere. So last, shallow and nowhere. Unless it comes from 810 first. We actually are just talking about that. A lot of the news agencies in and around Flint are following 810. Oop. Let us Here we go. Family says 9-year-old is awake and speaking in hospital after drive-by shooting. So your little fucking personal complaints are more important than this young woman. And the actions and the problems that led up to her getting shot. You're telling me that you having a personal issue with Tanya Burns is more important than that little girl. If you were truly an advocate for good governments, wouldn't you be, I don't know, advocating for more police or police to do their fucking job? Wouldn't you be advocating for police salaries to go up? Why? Because the cops leave Flint as soon as they can. They go to the academy, they do 2 or 3 months in Flint, and then they dip the fuck out to a place that's gonna pay them. They're getting paid, what, $22 an hour? And then they can get overtime? For the problems that go on in Flint and the amount of workload they have, that is too little. That is why you have chronically low numbers of police in the city of Flint. That is why out of 90 something personnel, many of those are desk jockeys. So your actual beat cops, the ones that are out there that are supposed to be patrolling neighborhoods and preventing crime just by their sheer presence, don't exist. You've got something like 60. And then you cut that up among shifts, and then you put that over. God, what is the square mileage of the city of Flint? Let me just go ahead and pop this up. City of Flint square mileage. 34.6 square miles. So you divide that by by 60 some odd cops. Then you divide that by shifts. Then you have to take out for coverage, days off. You've got maybe one cop per every 6 square miles. I was just surfing around on Facebook, checking on some friends of mine. Let me go back to there. I'm not going to show her page. This should be the right one. Nope. Here we are. This is the one. And she recently shared from Keeping the Community Informed. Flint 300 block boroughs requesting EMS for several people that overdosed on fentanyl. It's almost like there's a chronic shortage of police. It's almost like police are run by the government. It's almost like you, as a good government activist, should be asking, why aren't there cops? It's almost like you, as a good government activist, should be asking, hey, why is it that in 2022 December, the police decide, or the city decided to go into an exclusive contract with Stat EMS, who never had enough ambulances, and people had to watch their loved ones die after a motorcycle accident, waiting 2 hours for a fucking ambulance. And somehow, some way, you think this is okay. Then you focus on Hasselberg Senior Center that is working to honor and empower seniors. It is shameful the level of retribution the administration stoops to. Doug is the least of your problems. I just want to tag on that because Doug has brought up many of the names that I see in the chat. Some people I've gotten into it with, some people I have not, but all of them are honored friends that happen to bring a very valuable point of view to what's happening in Flint, whether they live there or not. Many of them have said if he did X, Y, and Z in their neck of the woods, that things would happen. Because even if he did not drop a racial epithet, okay, that's unsubstantiated. I can't say he did or did not. The way that he acts, that white savior syndrome of his, Whereas he is a white guy who happens to have a little bit of college under him. So he knows better than everyone else. He is pissed that Tanya doesn't do exactly as he says. Why? Well, white saviors don't like being told no, don't like being told they're wrong, don't like being told that their opinion isn't absolute truth by people that they're trying to be saviors of. That's pretty fucking racist to me. So in places like Minnesota, California, places like New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, I mean, people may take grave offense to such. Now, I'm not sitting here saying anyone touch him. Actually, I'm saying the exact opposite. Once again, I'll reiterate nonviolence. Don't lay a fucking finger on the guy, but definitely shame him when you see him. Let him know what you think of him when you see him. You don't have to touch him for that. And then the fact that the man is egged on by the first ward councilman, egged on by the second ward councilwoman, egged on by the seventh ward councilwoman, where he gets applause from them, where they pay him rapturous attention. But if you go back to Mickey and Wentz' stream earlier this week, and you were to take a look at the rest of the public speakers, every single person on council's head was down. They don't want your input. But when Doug walked up there, you saw heads snap up. Like the preacher just walked up to the dais. They gave him their undivided, wholesale attention. Because they wanted to hear him tear down Tanya Burns. They wanted to hear him start talking about 810. They wanted to hear him. And I don't understand. As a good government activist, if these folks are listening to him, then shouldn't he be using his title, his whatever fucking moniker he slaps on his ass every fucking morning, and using their attention to point out actual problems in the city of Flint? I am 35 years old. I've lived in Douglas, Arizona as an adult. I've lived in Midland, Texas as an adult. I lived in Colorado Springs as an adult. Pueblo. I've lived in Flint, Michigan. Now I'm out here in White Springs, Florida. Only one of those cities has had an income tax. Okay. The city of Flint has an income tax, though they don't facilitate you getting a job at all. They honestly just try to shoot out every fucking business that comes in. They don't make it business friendly to set up there. They want to keep you poor. But when you do find a job, they still have to find a way to keep you poor. So they take either 1% or 0.5% of your income, depending on if you work there or not. But if you live there, they're taking some of that money. They also want to hit you on your sales tax, property tax, water bill, trash collection bill. They are raking in money hand over fist on paper. Yet they can't get simple services done right. They still don't have clean water. Why isn't he talking about that? And the amount of money they're making, don't you think they could reduce the water bill? He doesn't want to talk about that. It's that FUD mentality, and that's a gun community thing. A FUD is someone who says, I don't care how things change. I've already got mine. Doug is sitting there. I can afford my X, Y, and Z. This doesn't affect me. But he forgets about the north side. He forgets about the east side. He forgets about the first, second, third, parts of the fourth ward, the sixth ward, fifth ward, fuck the entire fucking city of people who cannot afford those taxes or those water bills and fall behind. No. It's all about him trying to discredit Tanya Burns. And he will take anything he can to court. He's not trying for a payout. He's trying to get on government. Why? As a good government activist, I need to be on one of these boards so I can. But you're not going to do anything for the folks of Flint. You're showing us right now that you are not. The water bill is too high. The water is still poisoned. Changing 12 inches of pipe outside a house isn't going to change the damage that's already done to the inside of the house, nor all the fucking corrosion that's in the mains right now being pumped into the house, nor the problems with the water plant that allowed that to happen in the first place. But that 12-inch pipe service line is all they're going to do. Tell me, does that sound like good government activism? From Miss Carol Kincaid, which, by the way, longtime viewer, thank you very much for tuning in with us today. He doesn't forget about other parts of Flint. He simply does not care for those things. Not dude. Dud. Dowd. Yeah. Then how can you call yourself a good government activist? Shouldn't a good government be financially stable? Shouldn't a good government watch out for the people's interest? Shouldn't a good government make sure that your health and welfare are taken care of above anything else? No, Carol. Not 12 inches. 12 inches. This is all that they replace between the sidewalk and your home. 12 inches of pipe. Not 12-inch diameter, 12-inch length. So tell me, how is this man an activist for anything? It really just sounds like someone put a battery in his back and gave him a sticky note and said, go. Attack Carol McIntosh. Attack Tony Burns. Attack Billy Dantzler. Go and put notes on Joe King in multiple people's mailboxes. Go and upset Joe King. Distract. He's done quite a good job of it. All today is, I'm not giving him the attention. I'm pointing out what he is doing. Because in the middle of all that momentum, during public speaking, seniors speaking, rolling that ball uphill, gaining traction, in comes Doug. And that boulder slipped back downhill for people to have to push back up again. So we'll see what happens on council Monday to see if Doug was a good enough distraction. We'll see if Doug got their minds off of the important matter for long enough, or got our minds off of important matters for long enough. We will see if Hasselbring either continues to exist in his current capacity or goes away. The thing about the senior center, and Mickey and Winters brought up this morning, Mays was there often. I want you to think on that for a minute. Old folks are some of the most prolific voters in any population. A place where old folks can gather, can have fun, be respected. They will converse, and it will inevitably go through. I'll talk about that in a minute, Deborah. It'll inevitably go through politics, and they will discuss usually local politics. Because while us young folk have got our eyes on the stars and we're looking at everything out there, old folks know what's important. What's around you is important. Local politics is important. Yeah, Salty, thank you very much. Got to put this up to make sure she knows that everyone's appreciating this thing. But old folks know that local politics is the most important. So they will talk about local politics. Shutting down the senior center, the Hasselbring Senior Center, does a few things. It stops them from conversing, sharing ideas and news. It stops them from being active participants in their local government, period. Because if Senior A from part 1 of the city and Senior B from part 2 of the city each have different pieces of news that they wish to discuss with each other, but all they have is a senior center to get together and talk and communicate, you take that away, now they can't start putting pieces together. Next part of it is when seniors are happy, when they feel part of a community, they live longer. This is proven fact. But when they feel isolated, alone, neglected, forgotten, tossed aside, depression kicks in. And that'll kill off a senior more quicker than just about anything else. I don't know if that's an intended target of what they're doing or if it's just a happy ramification for them. But with all the young bucks running around the city being, well, let's face it, we're young and dumb, not paying attention to the local governance, because when you go to city council, who do you see there? Mickey, Wentis, Taylor, Sister Taliba, and seniors. Take those seniors out of that equation. Now there's less people watching them. Or even if they don't just die off, now they're less motivated. Now there's less people watching them. Because let's face it, the beautiful comments that we see in our 810 chats, Facebook, and YouTube sides aren't physically present. They don't hold the same weight as someone sitting there watching you fuck them over. Tell me I'm wrong. I can sit here all day and spout things that none of you like. It ain't going to affect me because you're a chat. Whereas, put me in front of y'all, I'm going to feel some pressure. That physical presence of the elders does a lot, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. Because the youngins don't show up at all. And going through it, we've seen, let me pop through and find this. It's from, I do believe 810 Flint said it was posted by Judy Priestley. Bring that back in just a second. 810 Flint, I believe 810 Flint said it is from Judy Priestley. I'm not 100%, but let's just go ahead and present the share screen. Face space. The world's ugliest fucking colors all in one. Let us go ahead and how do I blow this up? Good enough for government work. Okay, at the top, where you can't see because my little emblem's there. Attention, Flint seniors, to clear up misinformation. The Hasselbring Center is not closing. Bullshit. However, due to unauthorized activities hosted by the service provider, the city is now looking for a new service provider. Going forward, seniors will not be charged, and the city already has plans set forth for 100% of senior millage funds to go towards senior activities, whereas only 2/3 of the funding as of now are being used for senior activities. Damn, it always goes back to that. There we go. Hold on. I want to know what activities are supposedly being done there that are unauthorized. because this service provider, someone else had posted the actual contract. That same contract has been in effect for nearly 2 years now, and they're just now starting to come up with it. Just now starting to see something wrong with what may be happening there. No, I don't think so. I don't think so whatsoever. They're saying that 2/3 of the millage currently is going towards senior activities, but they haven't had to pay. Whereas last few months, they've been talking about having to pay rent now. So under a new service provider, everything's taken care of. Make it make sense. Are they telling the truth or not? Tell me. So I heard someone say serving alcohol, and it's getting hard for me to find out where that contract was. I'm going to have to keep scrolling for a minute. Nowhere in that contract did I see any do's or don'ts, such as serve alcohol. So what's the problem? The problem is that these older men and women are talking and are influencing each other, their children, their grandchildren who can vote, away from the current majority on council. As far as I know, they've always been able to drink there. I haven't read anything against it. And then on the next part of that, last I heard, you have to be 21 to drink a beer, and to go to a senior center, you have to be like 60 plus, as far as I know. And mind you, I'm not a rocket fucking surgeon. But as far as I know, 65 is older than 21. Meh. I may be wrong. So what's the problem with one of my older brothers say, this fucking mirrored ass camera. Vet wants to sit down with the vet friend and have a couple beers. Go to the VFW for that. Maybe he wants to hang out with their non-vet friends as well. Maybe they want to talk with someone that was, on the home front while they were overseas. Different walks of life. These community senior center, or anywhere else, you can talk with people from multiple walks of life and connect with your neighbors in ways that you have not done, that you do not do normally. While Facebook may be a wonderful thing, and while these live streams may work wonders, sitting down and talking with someone and actually hearing their story and understanding their perspective is one of the best ways ever to bring a community closer together. This new Flint that they're talking about, everything they want to do, I don't think they want to move residents out. And this is just my personal opinion. And Mickey and Wintus and several others will say, no, there's a new Flint coming. But I believe they want to move a few people out, bring no one in, keep the city impoverished, keep the city separated, isolated, and alone. So more money comes in that they can divvy out the same way they did with ARPA funds. So they can play with specific strategic funds like the wind funds to pay off their friends, because the more impoverished a city is, the more state and federal help it gets. Flint is a cash cow. They don't care about rich people moving in. They don't want that because it brings up the median income, which means they have less dollars to fuck with, which means they have less ways to fill their own pockets. Ed did not appreciate that Ms. Beverly got up and spoke up for the center. He vowed, "Oh, it's going to get done," all because he looked like an ass. Well, fuck Ed. Mama Quill says, "Leave us seniors alone. As long as we aren't breaking the law, we can and will do what we damn well please." Here's the thing. If you get to be senior citizen, or in Mama Quill's case, a 22-year-old that's been 22 for a while, you ain't gonna want to spend the last years of your life in prison. They're not breaking no laws. They're chilling and enjoying themselves. Fuck it, they damn well deserve it. Their generation raised my generation. And take a look at me. I'm a hellion. I'm an asshole. I'm a handful. And I know that I'm actually fairly well behaved. So putting up with my generation, let Nana sit down and have a fucking beer. Let Nana sit down and flirt with Grandpa. There is no problem with this. And now you're suddenly having an issue because of unauthorized activities. Now you're trying to break up what is basically, if not a labor union, still a union of elders. People want to talk shit about the Pinkertons back in the day doing union busting. That's exactly what this is right now. This is a political union bust. They don't like that the old folks can sit down, conversate, and come up with a plan of action for their community for the better. And if you take a look at council, how many elders do we actually have up there? I think it may be time to put one or two up there. Ms. Bev Biggs, and while she doesn't look like it, she has been 22 for a little while. It'd be nice to hear an older voice of fucking reason periodically, just like we need some younger voices up there. We need some folks in their late 20s to early 30s up there. Why? Because we need to hear what the youngins are doing too. Instead, we've got the same age group bracketed all the way across. We need people who are part of their community and part of other communities to be able to speak on the city of Flint properly from a position of knowing, from a position of having lived it, rather than being on the periphery. And I don't think I'm wrong. Reverend Berryhill, you're speaking common sense, which is basically Chinese to government. They don't know what the fuck common sense is. Common sense isn't common anymore. Supreme Court already ruled that, buddy. God damn. Nice having a beer. But you notice the time that they're pushing this. There are two things that you should really look at. Number one, the amount of money that they're trying to chuck out right now. They're afraid of November. Like I said a while ago, they're trying to put as much money as possible out as fast as possible. Because come November, there's a decent chance that they may not have their majority anymore. And then they're also trying to break up anyone and everyone who has influence to sway that vote. Leon doesn't get that seat. It's inverted. Quincy or Neely's handpicked successor of Quincy doesn't get that seat. Council is inverted. All of a sudden, the 5-4 ratio becomes 4-5. And I'm not going to sit here and espouse that everyone, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're all going to do right. I can't. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't have a fucking crystal ball. I see that the 5 that are up there right now are doing wrong. But it is a chance for things to go different. It is a chance for the voices of the folks to be heard. I moved away from Flint because bad governance. Because I didn't know if I was going to wake up one morning and as my wife walks out to her truck to go to work, if that may be the last time I see her. I got tired of that stress because we can't get enough cops. And then if something did happen, how long would it take an ambulance to get to us? Or being priced out of our tiny ass little home because the water bill keeps on going up, because the trash bill keeps going up, because taxes keep going up. I tell you, being 35 and looking at the prospect of not being able to afford to live in a city as impoverished as Flint because the rates that the city expects you to pay is damn near the Hamptons is terrifying. So I moved. That doesn't mean that I don't care anymore. My mother-in-law still lives in Flint, my father-in-law with her, my kids, many of the best friends I've ever made in my life all live in Flint. Many people that I care deeply about still live in Flint. And I can tell you, without the constant stress of what the fuck are they doing today and being able to step back, I can see things a little bit differently now. I can see the long game that they're playing because I don't have that constant stress pushing me down into the fucking dirt. RJ Cat, I'll tell you right now, they don't care about Maze. As far as they're concerned, he's dead and gone. They aren't even thinking about his legacy, my friend. No, it's about the seniors themselves. Christopher Sims. House will bring in other senior places are where people can come together to share resources, participate in group activities, and work toward a common goal. This director worked hard to achieve this, and that is what council does not want. Because there's something I've been ranting all fucking week to friends in the Discord, my wife, on the phone. When you have a community of people that get together, they're inevitably going to ask for something. It doesn't matter. It could be a group of kids. It could be clone me 5 times. You're going to ask for something. They're inevitably going to ask the government to fix something the government broke. In Flint's case, it's the water. Even though you have a governor that goes out and tells people nationwide the water's fixed, you have a mayor that'll sit there and say, well, we're over 90%. Well, that's where you fucking inherited it from, asshole. But when you have seniors, people listen to their elders. So when they start saying the water's still not right, you've got to break them up. That's the problem. Because grandma and grandpa, uncle and auntie, whoever may be there, older brother, older sister, mom, dad, they're still saying the water ain't right. I mean, hell, several days out of the month, just put a glass under the faucet and see what color comes out. Let it sit. And if you let it sit in the sunlight, you can see it starts decoloring. You can see that it starts having these weird bubbles on the bottom. That water ain't right. And then the amount of chemicals they throw into it to try to trick you to think it's right, also bad for you. So they're trying to prevent these people from asking the government to fix what the government's already done fucked up, whether it be state, federal, or local. And none of them want to hear it. We're coming into election season, November. Anything that reflects negatively upon Whitmer happens to reflect negatively upon her party. So a scandal in Flint, where she endorsed Mayor Neely, will reflect negatively upon her reflect negatively upon the party. She can't afford that. So she is ignoring everything, and Neely is trying his fucking damnedest to hide everything. Why do you think they say crime is down? Fucking Sheriff Swanson, a man that just 2 months ago I was praising, went to the DNC and said crime is down in Genesee County. Maybe as a whole, maybe if you discount Flint, it is down. But when you look at Flint as a whole, just Flint, not the surrounding areas, crime is on the rise. Violent crime is on the rise. Sex crimes are on the fucking rise. Drug crimes are on the rise. Just read you something from Keeping the Community Informed. Several people overdosed on fentanyl in Flint. They were requesting multiple EMS. But they're going to tell you crime is down. Everything is better in Flint. And I'm willing to bet, since you are tuned in here with me today, that you tune in with 810, you know better. Flint is not fixed. Flint is getting worse. This is like telling a cancer patient that they are suddenly cured and to go out and play football. Ronald, you're 100% right there, boss. I don't like when people come on here and talk down on Flint. I can't tell you how many arguments I've been on or been in the past 3 years of people from other parts of the country telling me Flint is fixed, the water's fixed. Hi, I fucking lived there, bro. No, it ain't fucking fixed. Well, my family lives on the outskirts of Flint in Burton. That's fucking Burton, dipshit. Pull your head out of your ass. I lived in Flint. Water's not fixed. Miss Carroll responding to Mr. Ronald. They do not know us, Ronald. They do not really pay attention to the experience we have. If they're talking us down, they just want to see their name on Facebook. 100% correct. Oop. It's going to take Flintstones to continue to be Flint strong to unite and take care of home. That's 100%. And like many things, it starts with voting. But voting isn't the end all be all. Just because you put your mark on a piece of paper and throw it in a fucking box doesn't mean you did your part yet. Getting loud, being active. You don't have to go out and protest, though. You know, I commend Ms. Rose Morrow for doing so and organizing a protest. Talking with friends, going to Kroger and just striking up conversation, letting others know, going on Facebook, going on YouTube, going on Twitter, going on Instagram, whatever you may have, and letting everyone know that Flint is still fucked and the problems of Flint. Number one, it spreads knowledge. Number two, you can encourage others to start doing right by their communities, just listening to what's happening in Flint. Because it isn't just Flint that's fucked. The country is upside down in many different ways. Water is messed up across the country. And they're trying to get ahead of it. I mean, hell, you saw, about an hour south of Michigan, that small town. They didn't just replace the service lines, they replaced mains and even interior plumbing. And then you have to keep pressure on your elected officials, like Jessica is saying, and continue to remind them that those seats are borrowed property. You have to let them know that every move they make, personal, professional, private, is being watched. You have to be loud. You have to be present. You have to give enough of a damn. Because voting isn't the end all be all. That's the first step. Boom. You can insist on accountability, follow up, and make those you vote in do the will of the people. And then, how about you have them insist on accountability as well? When was the last time anyone that received ARPA funds walked up to that podium? I'm not going to call it that L word because I'm not fucking fancy like that. But when was the last time you saw anyone that received ARPA funds walk up to that podium and explain what they did with the funds, how they used them? If you are so proud of the work you're doing, wouldn't you want to espouse it to everyone so they know the hard work you did? Or was it just a fucking cash grab? I would love to hear Kennedy Center cleaners say what they've done because Wentis has been looking for them, God, the same way that I look for ammunition. High and low, in between, anywhere and everywhere. Or Liddell, how much money has Sarvis Park gotten? And does it look any different? Let's be serious. Does it look any fucking different? No. Okay. Well, has the money, since it's a Sarvis Park Neighborhood Association, has the money gone into any of the houses in the neighborhood? Where did that money go, Liddell? Quincy, where's the money going for you? Basketball hoops and such? So when those are done, are you going to go up there with pictures and show that it got done? No? Weird. This. Because you see it with federal government all the time. And don't get me wrong, I'm an anarchist at heart. I do not like the federal government. But anytime they give you a fucking nickel, they expect a written progress report. And you should be prepared to go in front of Congress at any given time and explain every fucking cent spent and what it has done. The city of Flint just throws the money at you and says, go away. Be sight unseen. Be a checkbox, be a check in our little box to say that we've given out this money. Has a single water or sewer main been replaced? Yes, they have replaced a few sewer mains, boss man, but I'd say they have to replace all of them. They disagree. It's too expensive. Well, you receive $640 million goddamn dollars in liquid funds and equipment. Expensive shouldn't be a fucking word coming up in their fucking anywhere in their lexicon about the water. They had over $500 million goddamn dollars and they couldn't fucking do it. Contaminated land. Meh. Let's be 100% about that, buddy. All of Flint, Michigan is contaminated land. Flint, Michigan is 150 plus years old. The auto industry started in Detroit, went up to Flint. Ford was making vehicles there for about a century or so. Okay, less than a century, about 70 years. Anyway, pumping out tanks, Willys Jeeps for war efforts, and then for commercial sales. And all of that pollution has gone into the air and then settled back into the land. Hell, you can go cut open a fucking tree in Flint and take a look at some of those rings. They are gnarly. But so no one's saying anything about contaminated land, but all the land in Flint is contaminated. And speak of, well, I would say the devil, but she's not the devil. Speak of someone, and they shall appear. Ms. Rose Morrow, I was just saying I had to commend you for the protest that you put on the other night. And I honestly think it definitely opened a lot of people's eyes. We'll see if it sways council votes, but by God, I think you did the right thing, and I think you got some momentum behind you. Them willow trees ain't cheap. Hey, you're telling me, RJ, I've been looking at trees put on my property other than these tall ass fucking pines. Regular willows that are, God, I think they're about 2 years old. So about 3 foot tall that you can order to your house. I was looking at those about $400 pop. So yeah, no, them willows ain't cheap. But go ahead and throw the money at some fucking hippies from Pontiac. Why not? Who cares? I mean, they're renovating 8 houses per ward. That's cool, I guess. I mean, let's just pop up the calculator. I love the calculator. Shut up, Verizon. No one loves you. 8 times 9. 72 houses throughout the city of Flint. 72 lucky people. What about the other close to 80,000 that need help with their homes? Because when it rains outside, it rains inside for them. How about, collapsing basements? You better hope that fucking building don't collapse on an elder. How about walls? How about termite damage? How about rodent damage? Because those fucking ungangly, nasty, condemned homes right next to everyone's houses, yeah, they're housing rodents and parasitic insects. And the second you knock those down, those rodents looking for a new home. Your home. Do they plan to water these trees with water from Lansing? I think there's enough rainwater that they don't really worry about watering too much, Jessica. To be 100% with you. I mean, I lived right next to Mott Park and I didn't see any sprinkler systems going on through there. They just relied on the rainwater. So, no. Jessica happened to bring up another point. God damn it. 72 homes. Homies, lovers, friends are getting the hookup. You mean FBI? Friends, brothers, and in-laws. All this is to say that they have been listening. They just don't care with what you've been saying. All this is to say that they are scared. November's coming up, and they have a very strong chance of sitting instead of next to Quincy Murphy, next to Bev Biggs, instead of next to Leon Alamine, Carol McIntosh. All this is to say that while they've been riding their 5 or 6 vote majority for a very long while, they're terrified now, horrified even, that they may not have it any longer. I want you to ask yourself a question, because come November, council positions also change. Do you think Liddell Lewis will stay on council without resigning if she's no longer in charge? And if she no longer has a majority? Do you think Judy will? Do you think Candace will? Then the next thing I want you guys to remember, we heard this the other day. Trash contract was a 5-year trash contract. No bid contract. The first year, there should be no raises or increases. But after that, it's $5 million. You've got 87,000 people in the city of Flint-ish. Constantly declining, but 87,000-ish. Of that $5 million being cut up into the rest of the 4 years, that is $1.25 million a year that the city of Flint's going to have to make up. They say new tax assessment. Okay. Except not everyone in Flint can keep up with their taxes as they are. So the tax burden goes even further onto people who have kept up, which means more people that will fall behind. And tell me that doesn't sound like a setup to put more people in debt so someone can say, swoop in and be the hero of the day and try to move some votes. Hey, I saved your house. Vote for me. And that's exactly what you're going to hear. But, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an hour. It has been a blast and a privilege. I love my time with you guys each week. Once again, I got to thank Super Producer for this beautiful layout she's given me and all the work she's done with the bump. Hell, last night, she had one of her own shows on another channel with Wintus. It was a fucking blast. So head over there, give a like and a subscribe to them, please. Tonight we've got Carol and Stephanie. We've got Wintus and Anna. Tomorrow we got Tanya. Sunday we got Sister Audrey Muhammad. There might also be a poll talk. I think they're playing that by ear, according to what I heard. Swing on over to the Patreon if you guys can. It'd be amazing. Right now it's just myself and Free. We're trying to get a few other shows up on there, but the more people that subscribe to it, the more motivated we are to actually get moving on it. Other than that, guys, you all have a beautiful weekend. Try to keep your head up. Make sure you have a beverage of your choice: beer, coffee, soda, tea, whatever. Just take some time to look around you and be thankful that you're at least around. All right. You guys have a good one, and later. Ooh, wait, wrong.